Hi, welcome to Jovie's home. I post new videos on Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays. Today, we are going to be talking about the reverse culture shock that I experience when I travel back to the States from my home in Europe. Okay, listen, it's quarantine. My kids are home. There's no school. There's nothing. My husband is home too. You will hear them in this video, okay? I got no left to give in 2020, so we're just going for it. So if that sounds good to you, why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. Before we get into it, let's talk about today's Dutch word of the day, and that is going to be inspired by my trip to the dentist where I just was at, and getting myself ready for my orthodontics, which are coming in January. So the word of today is going to be the word for clear aligners, and those are called bitches. In Dutch. I'm not kidding, they're called bitches. So yeah, clear aligners. I can't wait for my bitches. All right. So culture shocks, this I don't mean bad or good with one country or another. When I say culture shocks, I am just referring to something that I notice as different between one country and another that makes me go, oh, I forgot about that. So with that said, let's get to the first one. All right, first up, the first thing that really shocks me when I go back to the States from Europe is like the big wide open spaces that I find. I used to live in Arizona, so when I go back to the States, I go to Arizona, which is going to be different than a New York or a Boston. But it's my channel, my experience, so I'm talking about my life. And that means that when I go back to Arizona, I literally cannot travel anywhere that is not by car or some kind of vehicle. There's nowhere to walk. There's no like, it's not walkable. And that is kind of like a culture shock for me when I come back to the States and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't just like walk to the supermarket or something like that. So that is a big thing that I notice. And yeah, moving on. The second thing that I really notice when I go back to the States is like the extreme air conditioning usage. Now, I love air conditioning and I used it growing up anytime I could get it. I was like, yes, give me the air conditioning. I want it cold and I want it cold, cold. But now that I've lived in Europe all this time without actually having air conditioning other than in my car, I'm freezing anytime I go to the States. It's like the air conditioning is not even like at a comfortable level. It's like set at like Dutch winter. So I just find it really cold, and I'm curious if you guys have been to the States too, like in the theater, like go to the movie theater or something. Like I need layers to go to the theater or to a restaurant or somewhere. I just find it freezing cold, freezing cold. Number 3, I'm not used to the portion sizes anymore. It is really like for 2 or 3 possibly meals that is served as a portion size for 1. And that is surprising and shocking to me at this point. With that, I do want to mention that like when I go to the supermarket, because when I go to the States, I usually stay with my family, and I just find it confusing, I guess, worrying, maybe, the difference in the size of things. So not the quantity, I'm not talking about that, but like, for example, in the Netherlands, a chicken breast is like maybe like this size, whereas a chicken breast in the States is like this size. Like why?
Why though?
But also like eggs, like an egg in the Netherlands, like this maybe. And in the States, it's like super duper huge jumbo. And so it's not just the portions, it's the actual food itself. It is a culture shock for me when I come back to the States and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Another thing that I'm not used to anymore that I'm like, ooh, every time I go back to the States is the top load washing machine. Top loading washing machine. So I've really gotten accustomed to the European high efficiency front loading washing machines where you can see your stuff and the program lasts a long time. yeah, at my parents' house in Arizona, you go there, pop open the top and shove your stuff in, and in 30 minutes your clothes are washed. I'm not sure. I don't know. I find it, yeah, like stepping back in time. Or, I don't know. I'm like, what? Like, why? I don't know. Explain. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Next up, and I'm just gonna do this one quickly, free refills. I forgot about those. And for good or bad, it is lovely to have and to be reminded of. Next, we have the openness and friendliness of people is a culture shock for me. After living in Europe for so long and now kind of like adjusting to the way of life here, and I'm not saying people are not friendly or kind or open in Europe, but not in the way that it is in the States. Like in the States, you will meet somebody and they will instantly become your best friend. It's like, hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh. And you can just totally have like a conversation with a stranger, like in the grocery store, and just like become friendly. Like it's so different than here. I really enjoy that, but I can understand why some people would not. So it is shocking for me to be able to make friends so easily in the States, just like unexpectedly or without trying, because people are so open and friendly. Again, I'm from the West Coast. Maybe it's different on the East Coast. Next up, I really experienced reverse culture shock in seeing the extremes in the States in terms of poverty and wealth. I've mentioned it a few times before on my channel, but I just can't get over the fact that, for example, in Hollywood, like in super rich Beverly Hills, you have these mega mansions and then homeless people right in front. The extremes, the absolute just like one to another level of wealth, but also poverty in one place. My mind cannot. I'm really curious if there is a place in the States that you can live and not see homeless people on a daily basis, because Scottsdale, Arizona, where my parents used to live, is not one of those places. Literally every red traffic light, there is somebody with a sign, homeless vet, please give me some money for food, or whatever it is. And that's really devastating. This video is meant to be lighter and funner, not sad and depressing. So we're gonna move on, but that's what I mean. Definitely the extreme wealth and extreme poverty in one place is shocking. Oh my gosh, you guys. The overwhelming amount of choices of stuff that you can buy in the States. Please, if you're watching this from America and you're like, oh, in Europe, it's like communism and socialism, they have one choice for everything. That's not how it is here. It's not. You can choose from, 5 black t-shirts if you want a black t-shirt in any given shop or something like that. But in America or in the States, you have 65 black t-shirts, and it's overwhelming. It is literally overwhelming. Like I walk into Target, and I love Target, okay? But the first time when I go back to the States after being away for a long time and I go into Target the first time, that cannot be a trip where I need or want to buy something. That is like, I need an acclimating to Target trip that I just go to Target, walk around, and get used to the amount of choices that I can make on any given product. The supermarket is the same. Like, so many choices. Certainly in some cases I do enjoy having that. Like, I wish that the Netherlands had more choices, for example, in yogurt. I really want a peach yogurt. Why is there no just peach yogurt? Like, that's what I want. But I think in the States it's too much. Like, I don't know how to like express myself here, in the sense that I want to have choices, but not too many that I can't make a choice or feel like, did I make the right choice? I don't know. Let me know if you've experienced that, or if you know what I mean when I talk about that. I spent 10 weeks in the States when I had my baby 3 years ago. So I took my son and my daughter and we did maternity leave in the States. I stayed at home with my parents, and one of the things that we did is we put my son into preschool there. You guys, I was shocked at first of all, how much money I had to pay for the preschool. But again, it's also expensive here in the Netherlands, like kinderopvang or peuterspeelzaal. It costs money, it's expensive. But the thing that was the most shocking was that for that money, I didn't get anything other than the teacher, in the sense that if your child goes to daycare, you have to bring your own diapers. You have to bring your own formula or your own milk or your own food. In this case, for him to go to preschool, I had to supply the school with paper towels, you know, kokenpapier. I had to supply the school with Ziploc bags, you know, the zipper bags. There was like a whole list of stuff, like pens and paper, and I'm like what am I paying for? Like, I don't know. I don't know if we're just spoiled. Please, you guys, if you're in Europe, let me know if your child goes to preschool or to daycare. Do the fees for those things cover things like food and diapers and I don't know. Shocking. For me, shocking. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. The last thing that I want to talk about here is the Postal Service. You guys, I know that so many of you in the Netherlands love to complain about PostNL. And let me tell you guys something. PostNL is amazing when we want to compare it to the States. I don't understand why it takes 7 days for a letter to come from California to me in Arizona. It takes 7 days or 10 days sometimes. What the actual fuck? Like, what? Like, why? Here we are so spoiled. You guys, we are spoiled. How many shops offer things like if you order before 5 o'clock, you in the afternoon, like, you know, if you order before 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you get your thing the next day. No matter where you ordered it from in the Netherlands, it comes to you the next day, like within 24 hours. Okay, sorry, maybe during Corona time, maybe you get it the next day. But like 10 days, 7 to 10 days. And I'm talking about pre-COVID, like, you know, just like getting something from my law school to my house in Arizona, it would take like 7 to 10 days. Like, why? Why is the Postal Service so slow? This I don't understand. These were my culture shocks. This is it. This is this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming over. I can't wait to hear about your culture shocks that you've experienced. Please fill that comment box down below. Let me know. I love to read your stuff and hear from you guys. So thank you so much for coming over. Thank you for being here with me on this very rainy Dutch day. And thanks for putting up with my kids' noise. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye! Doei!